Caleb from Brownells here, and in today's video, we're going to be covering the top 5 products for your 1022 under $50. When I say 1022, we have a BRN22 here, but you know, tomato, they're both the same. They'll both accept all the same parts. So let's jump right into it. Part number 1 is going to be this extended mag release, and this one here, made by Crossfire. And the reason I picked this one, opposed to other ones, there's some other ones within that price range, but this one, what you get for how much it cost you, is kind of a no-brainer. And I'll just kind of bust open the packaging here. Alright, so this is the one from Crossfire Gear, and if you look at it, it's just a nice wide paddle. It is made out of polymer, but it's the good kind of polymer, right? And I mean, all it does is, this one's kind of a poor example because it already has an extended one, but it sits in there and just provides a wide surface for you to get to that mag release, especially if you're doing like any kind of competition shooting with your 22. Gives you a nice wide purchase there, quick mag changes, makes everything nice and easy. So that's a good part there. That's my number 1 pick. Let's jump into number 2, and that's going to be a Fiber Optic Sight Set from Williams. So if you're not using an optic on your gun, you're just using the iron sights, this is definitely a must-have upgrade in my opinion. So let me bust open these fire sights here. That's what they're called. They're called fire sights because they glow like a fire. Alright. Set the packaging aside. More packaging. I'm getting there, I promise. There's a staple in here. And you know how I feel about staples. Alright, yeah, there we go. Didn't cut myself. Okay. So the rear sight is a nice green 2-dot. And if your barrel, this is an aftermarket barrel that's not dovetailed, but your factory Ruger barrels are dovetailed. So this will basically just sit right there. Your adjustment screw to keep it tight in the dovetail is just a screw. So if you want to, adjust your windage, you can do it just by loosening that screw in most cases. You can also adjust the windage back here on the actual sight portion itself because it also dovetails into this base, which is a pretty cool feature. And then your elevation screw is just a strain screw that they put right there, so it lifts it up and flexes on the barrel. So pretty straightforward there. And then the front sight is just a standard 3/8 dovetail front sight, but it's red, so that, let me kind of put these side by side here so you can see the contrast there. It's easy to pick out your front sight amongst the rear, and that'll just dovetail right into the front of your barrel, nice and easy. So that's the fire sight from Williams. And let's talk about another, well, we're going to kind of get into some of the internal components here for the most part. This is the Tandem Cross Shock Block Bolt Buffer. That's a mouthful. I just call it the, bolt buffer. So don't really need to open it, but I'll open it anyway. Get the full effect. Alright. And it is just as you can see here, it's just a rubber buffer. And this actually mounts in your receiver behind your bolt. If you watch any of our BRN22, 1022 build videos, you'll know exactly where this goes. You'll recognize it almost immediately. But that goes behind your buffer, or excuse me, behind your bolt. And the factory one from Ruger is metal. And the whole purpose of this is to dampen the blow of that bolt as it recoils to the rear. And they do a really good job of that. So that's another upgrade I think will benefit most people. And let's get into the charging handles. So this is a factory Ruger charging handle. As you can see, it's pretty narrow, and it works just fine in most cases. But if you want to upgrade it, our last 2 products here are from Volquartsen. And let me open up this one here so you can see. I'll just absolutely annihilate this packaging. Wow. Okay. I'm really doing. You know what? Let me. It's winning right now, but I got my secret weapon. There we go. Should have started with the knife. All right. Now that I've destroyed, you know what? We'll out of sight, out of mind, right? All right. So this is the extended charging handle from Volquartsen. Now, the cool thing about this, it's not just a larger knob to get a hold of. It is, you know, it definitely gives you more purchase. It's nice and serrated. It's ribbed, right? So it's easy to get a hold of. But the quality of the machining on this post itself, and it's polished, it actually makes the cycling of your action a lot smoother, especially whenever you're manually manipulating it, which is really nice. So that's a good feature there. And yes, it does come with the extended bolt handle and the full recoil spring and rod assembly. So all of that's there. It's just all one piece ready to be dropped in. All right. And then because I learned from my mistakes, I'm going to start with the knife this time. So this is actually a pretty cool little product. If you're familiar with the Ruger 1022 and the standard trigger groups and stuff for that, you probably know that they have that like funky bolt catch on the bottom, that bolt release that you gotta. It's weird to manipulate sometimes. But this one from Volquartsen, it's not an extended one. It doesn't make it bigger, but what it does is this goes inside of your trigger mechanism, probably like so, right? And what it does is that whenever your bolt is locked to the rear, so this is I can use this one as an example here. This one has an aftermarket mechanism in it, but whenever your bolt's locked to the rear, on the standard Ruger, you can't just pull the bolt back and release it. You have to pull the bolt back and kind of manipulate the catch, get it in the just right spot, and then you can release your bolt. With this one, all you got to do is pull back gently on the bolt and let it go, and it goes into battery. So you don't have to fajangle with the original one, if that's the word we're using. I think it is. So that's it. Those are my top 5 Ruger 1022 upgrades, or BRN 22 upgrades, for under $50. So if you have any questions or comments, or if you have anything you think should have been on this list, let us know in the comments down below, and I'll check them out. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time.